crime wave in Gotham. Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Coming up, more problems for a troubled
Earthquake.
skater. Yep,
We're having an earthquake.
Breaking into homes and tickling people.
Fans quickly trashed his pantsless look on social media.
Also, in other news,
the whistles got woo!
He was murdered and then set on fire while celebrating his birthday.
He's on the lean and the mouth.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
He thought the car was a spaceship and that the driver was an alien.
He lost his life savings, $2,600, and all he has to show for it is this stuffed banana with dreadlocks.
Oh, it's time for another news right here on the Bernstein and Goff Show. Dan, I'd like to ask Skip. I'd like to ask you a question. Who do you think was the most influential person in sports in 2017?
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. Shep, who do you think was the most influential person in sports in 2017?
J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt? Ooh, sleeper right there. Tanny? Well, here.
LeBron. It's always LeBron.
All right. So LeBron, J.J. Watt, Colin Kaepernick. Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump is the most influential person in the sports world after a year marked by
Stick to sports, Goff.
I am. Marked by feuds with ESPN, the NFL, and the NBA champion Golden State Warriors, a prominent industry trade publication said on Monday. That prominent industry trade publication is the Sports Business Journal. Trump topped the Sports Business Journal's annual MIP and Sports Business list, which ranks the individuals who had the, quote, greatest influence, positive or negative, on the sports world during the year. The publication said the president's selection, quote, isn't the choice we wanted to make. For his angry, loud, and visceral rhetoric that has divided the sports industry and caused massive reaction, response, and reflection, President Donald Trump is Sports Business Journal Daily's most influential person in sports business. Trump has spent the last several months locked in a feud with the NFL and its players over national anthem protests. The president called earlier this fall for the NFL owners to fire any player who kneels during the anthem, prompting a renewed wave of protests. Trump has also repeatedly bashed league officials for their handling of the protests and said the league's business is failing. All in all, because I would have gone with Colin Kaepernick and the shockwave that he sent, not through just football, but
I will admit, it didn't include the president because I didn't think of him as in sports.
I got you.
He may have had the most influence on sports,
right,
but I didn't consider him eligible as in sports.
I got you. And J.J. Watt, $37 million for Houston flood victims. LeBron James being LeBron every damn year and showing us that he not only makes a whole hell of a lot of money, but he seems kind of cool. He doesn't get into any trouble, and he actually uses his platform for good or for what he perceives as good. All three, I thought, would have been named before Donald Trump. But you know what? I don't know that I disagree with it.
No, not based on their criteria.
Right,
I would quibble on sports in sports in this particular situation.
I just thought it was an interesting little tidbit from Sports Business Journal.
God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I didn't press that.
I'm sure. So Jim Caldwell, the Detroit Lions head coach, was this on the conference call with Bears media?
No, this was just his standard Detroit media press conference.
Okay, this is a regular press conference. I don't know how or why this came up, but let's listen in to when it got odd.
Do you have a favorite movie? I do, but I care not to share it. You might misunderstand. I don't have time to explain.
Okay, he was asked his favorite movie. He does have a favorite movie, he says, but he will not share it. He doesn't want it to be misunderstood. He doesn't want to explain it. So, have at it.
Jim Caldwell.
What wouldn't he want to explain?
That's the thing.
Is it Birth of a Nation?
That's what I'm saying. Immediately I thought of the Nat Turner movie, Get Out or something like that. But those are too recent for it to be somebody's favorite movie, right?
Maybe, who knows? And maybe
of all time. No.
Raisin in the Sun,
Schindler's List. Yeah, but I mean, that's not hard. You won't go into talking about the Holocaust and people are like, hey, that's enough. All right, well, it's always you with the Jew talk.
I'm thinking. I'm thinking. It's,
actually, there are enough people who will probably say that.
I'm thinking it's something just it's a total non sequitur.
Meatballs.
It's like
Goodfellows.
Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams or something, right? They're just some
Red and Meth. How high?
Completely random random movie. It's like, I've always liked Cheech and Chong, and I care not to explain exactly
It's
what.
got
Right?
Caligula. Look at these people now texting. 6, 7, 11.
Come on, texters.
This is where you guys shine the brightest.
Come
right
on
here.
down.
He likes The Room, but before it was cool.
Oh yeah.
He actually thinks The Room is good.
He's off of it now that everybody's on it. I've got to think it's something that he doesn't want to. Maybe it's too hot to talk about right now. The social temperature around the NFL.
Or it's like Pitch Perfect.
Hey man, do your thing. If that makes you
I
smile,
love one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah. All right.
Some of the textures.
Yeah, you guys. It's okay to like Brokeback Mountain. It doesn't
It's a
make
great
you
movie.
Gay. It doesn't make you gay.
You're allowed to watch Brokeback Mountain,
can I
and you
ask
don't
you this?
emerge as a gay.
Can I? You're like, you know what, man? I went in watching. I was completely heterosexual. When I left, I had a hankering for a little.
Get some Levi covered arse.
Well, can I ask you this about Brokeback Mountain?
Yes.
Is it possible for you not to be a homophobe and also be a little uncomfortable with some of the scenes?
Well, it depends for what reason you're uncomfortable. There is a great deal of discomfort in much of the movie, and a great deal of tension. But if it's the actual,
like for instance,
it's actually watching two men love each other that makes you that uncomfortable, that's on you.
Because, for instance, the scene from the American Gods show that I was watching on Stars, heterosexual lovemaking scenes, and they were graphic. Like, I'm like, oh, that's what that looks like. Huh? Like, I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. But no, there's one where a woman like shoved a guy, and it was like, hey, calm down. Dude, you've got to see the show to know what I'm talking about. American Gods has some scenes.
Because your pantomiming is 3 syllables. First syllable.
Like charades. No, American Gods had some scenes where I'm like, yo, hey, guys, come on now. Enough. I didn't sign up for all of this. And then I kept watching the episode over and over again. All right, so Kelly Oubre is a swingman for the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre has fashioned himself the wave god, where he is a trendy dude, fashionable dude. Are you aware of Supreme? Are you aware of Supreme clothing?
I'm not.
Okay. Supreme is a...
Or Supreme Lobster and Fish based out of Chicago. And
they'll put their logo on that, too, eventually.
No. Supreme is a very, very trendy designer right now. So
we can get back to your gazelles in this one way or
well,
another?
kind of.
Okay.
Louis Vuitton has actually done collab joints with them in terms of just throwing their stuff all over the Louis Vuitton name because they know Supreme is moving units right now. Okay. Well, the wave god Kelly Oubre wore a leg sleeve with Supreme on it, and the NBA trainers told him, you're probably going to have to take that off. And this is his way of explaining that interaction.
Well, they made me change it. I don't know. Maybe it was just from what I got informed through one of our trainers. He was like, switch leg sleeves. So I switched, no questions asked. But it's just it has an NBA logo on it, has a Nike sign on it. The NBA is sponsored by Nike. It's just Supreme, So I don't really know what's the quarrel. I mean, they shouldn't have sold it to me, or they shouldn't have dropped it if, we can't wear it and it has the NBA logo on it. Because I play in the NBA, right? So I should be able to wear anything that has the logo of what I represent, So I don't really understand the movement behind that. But it's just something wavy, honestly. I don't know if it's too wavy for him, but I had fun.
It's a sex comedy.
No, it's just
something wavy.
It's just too wavy for him.
Okay, wavy meaning swaggy or saucy?
Exactly. It's
just something wavy, honestly.
I love it.
If it's too wavy for him, but...
Hey, and
somewhere Josh Bellamy is nodding along. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're dropping another pass. And if you know Kelly Oubre's story, Kelly Oubre is a Katrina kid. He and his family lost everything, and he was homeless for a long time. So Kelly Oubre, much like Russell Westbrook, has interned at a couple of different fashion houses. He's a real, he really, really gets into the fashion industry and the fashion part of not just dressing, but, having style and not having a stylist, because that's the thing now where you can dress yourself without having a stylist. But good for Kelly Oubre. Hey, if you're slapping logos on it and you're selling it and you're allowed to wear it, why can't he? So I'm with Kelly Oubre on that.
It's just something wavy, honestly.
Hey, man, just something wavy.
I had never heard that expression before. This is out of Maplewood, New Jersey. An obese squirrel was caught on video stealing gourmet chocolate and lip balm that a family leaves outside as a holiday treat for delivery people.
Okay.
And I hadn't quite heard of this. I mean, I'd heard, we always send our newspaper delivery person a Christmas gift, but just this general idea. Michelle Boudreau said on her blog she provides candy, snacks, tissues, hand warmers, and other goodies on her doorstep every year. She's never had any issues before, but this year her basket was raided within hours of being set outside her home. And the thief seemed to be targeting the priciest stuff, including 25 squares of Ghirardelli chocolate. The family set up a surveillance camera to see what was going on and spotted the overweight varmint standing on a step stool digging through the stash on Tuesday. And this squirrel is a zero technique. She said, this squirrel is so obese, a jolly old chap. He must be prepping for a decade of winters, she wrote. Her husband tried to chase the squirrel to see where it was hoarding all the treats, but it made a clean getaway. Now, I want to see how fat the husband is.
Boy, are you fat.
Because if you couldn't catch this squirrel...
Well, Dan, it's still a squirrel.
I know, but it is this cannot be,
it can't be
a fast squirrel. There's no way.
Yeah, but they dart. In and out. They don't
this
run
thing
straight
is
ahead.
Darting
We're not talking
nowhere.
about like a 10-yard shuttle run here. You got squirrels that can move in the drop of a dime.
So they now leave the chocolate in a jar that requires opposable thumbs. She put out a bowl of treats for the squirrel on Thursday. This is a mistake. Full of walnuts, popcorn, and pumpkin seeds. The rotund rodent showed up, threw all the seeds out on the porch, and ate everything else.
Hey, stop. It's the 49ers player. Hey, Mom, stop putting them damn raisins in the cookies. Right? Stop putting these damn nuts out here. I don't need that in my life. Now, let me see how big the squirrel is.
Well, I gotta wait here. It takes a while for it to show up. It is. I mean,
it's still a squirrel, though, Dan.
Yeah, but it's a pear-shaped squirrel.
It's a part-time score producer.
Well, they got me this year. We set the little pumpkin. I have the one big pumpkin for Halloween, and then we set the little pumpkins
and the animals come
on the
out
stairs.
And
when the squirrels get into those pumpkins, and I opened the door and caught one the other day, and he gave me a look like, "What?" Like nothing.
Yeah, I'm trying to eat, fam. Like, what do you need?
He gave me that look like, "Oh, you live here?" Like, yeah.
Yeah. There's a little standoff.
But I don't mind them eating those pumpkins. That doesn't bother me. It kind of cleans them up and take them away.
Dude, people are chiming in right now because they saw the scene in American Gods that I am talking about, where it's heterosexual activity that is very, very uncomfortable. I'm going to find it for you.
It's just something wavy.
It is something wavy. And that's in other news right here on the Bernstein and Goff Show. 312-644-6767 is the phone number.
The text screen blew up.
Dude, that scene, and it happens more than once. It's just damn uncomfortable. So it's not, it's not just Brokeback Mountain where you can have a sex scene that's uncomfortable. You can have heterosexual sex scenes that are very uncomfortable. When we come back, Dan, I want to talk to you about a guy that was on the Spiegel and Parkins show and his story and his running back life, and a guy who is going through it right now. If you don't know the story of Larry Johnson,
oh man,
he sat down and talked to the Washington Post, I believe, about what he is going through right now. You won't want to miss this.
And no, the squirrel is not Lendale White, according to Greg Gabriel.
It's the Bernstein and Goff Show right here on 670 The Score.
Lendale White, that fat running back from USC.
That's why I don't read the newspaper.